Hi, this is my second video of my new book, Lucky. It's available at lulu.com/content/9139356. It's also on Kindle as Amazon reference B00IMNXWK2. I blog on Wordpress at tparchie.wordpress.com. Now, what has gone before? Lucky has escaped a war at the galactic core. That war was a long time ago. Her spaceship, the Expedient, has woken her from slow time. She wants to know why, and she's impatient to be up and about. She performed the action to transform the bed. It obediently became a convalescent chair. Ready now, she commanded in the long-dead language of the flowing people. Expedient, report. The ship launched into a summary of matter snared, matter converted to energy, and matter otherwise consumed. A detail she would rather put off to another time. Yet she herself had designed this order of service. The report droned on. Matter otherwise consumed is at 100% of capacity. Repairs are consuming rare minerals faster than they can be replenished. Inventory is at a minimum. Hand-to-mouth consumption will meet this shortfall for a period, after which the Expedient will need to cannibalise itself. What? Cannibalise? The Expedient currently sits within an interstellar medium where concentrations of suitable matter are insufficient to meet normal needs. Is this temporary? Rephrase. A curt demand by the ship, but in her trilling voice. It was forcing her to spell things out. Why? It was obvious to Lucky what she was asking, but she patiently rephrased her question. Is the shortage of suitable matter due to inconsistent with the general area? What was up with her? All she wanted to know was whether the shortfall was due to a generally low matter count for the interstellar space that they were in, but her question didn't make sense. A program that answered in reflections of her own voice, and she had trouble using it. The ship waited. Lucky sighed and rephrased again. Are normal needs increasing? A number of repair cycles for the Expedient have coincided, leading to temporary challenges in replacement management. Her ship was talking gobbledygook, but at least she was getting somewhere. Are concentrations of suitable matter reducing? In general, the local interstellar medium has lower concentrations of particulate matter. However, the Expedient is on the edge of a stellar system where the density of stray material is proving to be higher. So, Lucky asked, is that a yes or a no? Is that the reason I am awake? No and no. Dim radiance from the ceilings dulled against the walls in the recuperation cell. Grey walls, oppressive. Neutral colours that permeated the spacecraft, casting dour ambience. She couldn't make head or tail of the first no. Were concentrations of suitable matter reducing? The answer was totally opaque. Was her ship sulking? Unlikely. She'd turned off its socialisation module a long time ago. It had been driving her mad. It dawned on her from the second response that there was a different reason for waking her from slow time. But why was she revived if not to deal with the scarcity of interstellar matter? Lucky felt her frustration rise. She chewed on the frustration a while. Here she was stuck with a sullen, stubborn ship that couldn't follow its programming properly, halfway to nowhere with nothing to look forward to other than a slow, lingering half-life. A bleak rage threatened to take over. Is this what she'd sunk to? Quibbling with how she'd programmed the ship's command interface? No, she knew it for what it was. Waking life returned, and with it the risk of overpowering emotions. She should get a hold of herself and let the report unfold. Yes, the status report must continue. Continue? Imperative. Her ship trilled its response. In summary, although the matter conversion may require future intervention, it isn't the primary reason for waking you. Wait, where are we? The Expedient is close to a system that lies on the outer edge of a minor belt of stars. 2 major spirals separate us from the core. Likewise, 2 major spirals lie rimward. What was her ship telling her? She concentrated on where they were. A minor belt of stars out of the galactic core, thus separated from the inner spirals and the clusters that made up the galactic core by the vast, sparsely populated dark between those spirals. A minor belt of stars. That sounded almost promising. She probed. How far are we from the core? The craft is about halfway to the galactic rim, and thus halfway from the core. In ascertaining the direction of core, reference is made to the super-dense collapsed star near the centre of the galaxy, because... Was her ship beginning to sound smug? She parked the thought, yet she interposed irritably. Yes, I know, the core of this galaxy is elongated, and so the direction of the closest core stars may be in a different direction to the actual centre. So where actually are we in amongst all this? Really, she meant, how far am I from the place I fled? The ship paused a little, as if performing a calculation, and then responded. So naturally, the core stars closest to us are not in a centremost direction. She was ready to speak, but it continued. We are at an angle of 45 degrees to the axis of elongation. Her ship paused and then persevered. Considerably closer to the elongated tip than to the true core. Was it finished? Think of the core as having a central bar to represent the axis of elongation of its constituent stars. I know. The command interface was repeating information she was certain she had already acknowledged. A minor belt of stars, it added unnecessarily. This told her nothing new. She stole a look at the chronometer again. The instrument stayed stubbornly on the outrageously large current galactic date. 61. No way, it just couldn't be that date. The status report had stopped without her noticing. It surely hadn't finished. Oh, she had let her hand slip from the control. It needed to be kept just so. There. The report took up where it had left off. Transmissions from the centre of the galaxy have hugely increased. There is every indication that the super-dense collapsed stellar object... Fill me in on that later, Lucky interrupted. She knew all about the black hole in the centre. Just give me the lowdown on the coreward stars of interest. Coreward stars of interest. A coded expression for the places where the flowing people had lived and loved. Even now it hurt her to talk of it. Halcyon days lost in the long periods between consciousness. Slow time created distance and time but didn't dull pain. Many core stars are still capable of supporting a habitable zone. The proportion of these that were known to the flowing people, however, is precisely 0%. 0%? No, that must be wrong. Some suns that her race knew must still be capable of supporting life, assuming their planets weren't too damaged. Surely there must be a place where her peoples might still be. How can that be? What's happened? 7% of those known stars have zones that are assessed as being marginally viable. These would require continuous intervention to stay so. 67% have passed the fuel exhaustion threshold, where the only habitation would be through artificial enclosures. The star systems of the balance no longer exist in any meaningful form. That couldn't be right. She'd digest this later. At least they were well off the beaten track, which was good. Oh, for somewhere to live, to breathe fresh air and to run in the open. Might as well wish for a man. Put the thought aside. What was that? Hell? Oh, thanks for listening.